we hear the word phenotype. The question is, do you really understand what phenotype is? And in order to understand trait selection, we'll need to have a good foundation in phenotype. One fact that I think people tend to overlook is, in order for there to be a pheno hunt, it requires a certain amount of diversity. So pheno hunt specifically involves hunting for the best plants in a genetically diverse environment. So that tells you that in order for there to be a phenotype, there needs to be diversity. Without diversity, there is no phenotype. Phenotypes are expressed traits that are induced by environment and genetics. So the combination of genotype and environment equal phenotype. And on a really surface level, yeah, we're going to look for the best out of that diverse population. You don't realize is that the reason why we hear phenotype, pheno hunt so much is because pheno hunts and phenotypes, because they require diversity to exist, they are directly related to F1s. And pollen chuckers also go hand in hand with F1s, right? His existence is based on taking a mother and a father and making an F1. And whenever
shout out to the big homie.
Create an F1, we create the most diversity, right? Because we are bringing two people from two separate worlds together to create an offspring. A mix of mom and a mix of dad. That's the most diversity you're going to have as far as your gene pool. This is why we hear phenotype, pheno hunt so much, because there's so much pollen chucking. There's so much F1s that are being labeled as good genetics, or F1s that are being considered true crosses, or F1s that are being considered or being marketed as stable genetics. When in reality, it's just the starting point, right? It just literally is the first step of us creating our own line. We have to remember that the word phenotype is related directly to F1s. So, when you actually start to do the work, we get into trait hunting, right? It's not necessary. So, pheno hunting happens in the very beginning when we initially do the first outcross, when we start. You hear pheno hunt so much because pollen chuckers start, then they sell whatever they started to start something new. So it's always constantly a pheno hunt. In my world, where we're actually working through selective breeding, we focus more on traits and individual selection. We talk about all the time how traits are independently assorted. So when we think of a particular phenotype, a phenotype usually comes with a list of characteristics or inheritable traits. Trait hunting focuses on selecting for specific traits, inheritable traits, right? We want to focus on a specific trait. So let me give you a perfect idea. After I've already passed my F1 stages of work, I am now isolating traits. I'm now looking to isolate traits. Let's take DeadOps OG, for example. That's my elite line. That's the line I've been working for so many years. Let's say that it's almost perfect to where I want it. Now, the only thing I'd like to improve is mold resistance. That one inheritable trait that I'm looking to isolate and add to my elite line. But we don't need all of the other traits that come along. I'm only looking to isolate and fix one trait into my line. It's a series of ways we can do it. We talk about transgression backcross all the time. A transgression backcross is my primary tool that I use for trait hunting. When trait hunting, I can do an outcross with a specimen that might have the mold resistance I'm looking for, that one trait that I'm looking for. I can do an outcross, and through a series of transgression backcrosses, I can isolate that